add existing words. So you are now summarizing what you found from it. Okay, this is what? Look at this word. Preliminary. What does it mean? Just like proposed, just like the beginning of work. It does not mean that the literature review you do here is what you're using for your main work. Because you may do, like I said, if you do not read enough, you cannot find the real problem.
It's like the first draft of literature
Yes,
review.
even in literature review, if you think just because your literature review is just going to be 4 pages or 5 pages, and you think there's no need for me to read up to 50 papers, the little the paper you read, the little your knowledge in that field will be. And the little you will know about the keywords. I don't know if you understand that point. The more you really want to understand it, the more you should be ready to read more. It is not about using it to write first. It is about learning and knowing much about that field. That is your goal. Your goal as a researcher in literature review is to know more about this field, not to be quickly thinking about how to write plenty. Because when you know more, writing plenty will come naturally. Yes. And when you write plenty, it will be easy for you to find books, things to support. All you need is you write a lot. You will now be looking for different works that have said something before like that. You just be using it to support. You don't even need to really copy anything from it. You will have seen some of the words that you've used that has already paraphrased what the person said. You don't need to write. You only need to just cite this person in something that you've already said. Do you understand?
I don't know.
That is it.
It's complicated.
No, it's not. It's easy. But it's
Sick.
tricky. It takes time.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you understand? So it can be broad. When you read a lot about it, all you need to is calm down. So read, you can write because you've read a lot. By the time you read, you sit down, you'll be typing like you're writing general essay. Looking like, like drafting, you're writing. You will realize that I do it sometimes. Like when I'm thinking, after reading, I'll read, like many weeks. After doing that, I put some books of my system in front and I'm drafting, like writing normal essay. I may write like 3-4 pages without looking at anything online. It is the power of what I've known. Now when I finish this, it's easy for me when I'm looking for different papers. In each paragraph, when I read a paragraph, I know type of papers I'm looking for. When I look for these papers, I will see almost statement. That is some statement that's almost as the one I've drafted. When you find it, you have your paraphrase. You don't even need to really do much. You may even just pick 1 or 2 words or 1 sentence to rephrase and support the one you have, then you have citation. There are many ways that people do it, but it's one of the logics that I use. So, but the key, what I'm saying here is read more to know more. Knowing more is what will help you to understand how to do literature review and work on your research to know the problem itself. Now, what do we say? What is known? What are you reporting in your literature review? What do we know? What has been done by others? And why your research is still necessary. That you've been thinking, the reason you will know why literature review is important, do you know why? You are reading someone's work. What does literature review do for you there? It helps you to know what has been done and what has been written. Do you understand? So you know that, this, and you can now know where the problem is in what has been done. Even if that thing has been done, it does not mean that you shouldn't do it again. You will now be looking for a mistake or something that they didn't do enough in that part. They've covered gender violence in Syria. Your town, which town are you from? Damascus. So, okay, in Damascus, or among the group of people that live in your own environment, you will think that nobody has done something like this. Okay, explain how you will build on. Look at it. Explaining how will you build on, challenge, or synthesize prior scholarship. What does it mean? The one in your work. Okay, this is what I want to add to what they've done. and this is what I want to introduce into it. Synthesizing means something that is there, you're bringing it into it, and you interwoven them to make them complete. Who or what will you study? It could be who, it could be what, it could be where. Who or what, e.g., high school students in Damascus, right? It could be local newspaper archives from what year to what year. It could be presidential speeches. That was one interesting topic that I wanted to explore. But I'm done, then I think this year. I want to look at speeches of different presidential candidates in my country, Nigeria, that have won the campaign and won election and deliver post-election speech. Then I want to monitor all the post-election speeches of these candidates from a particular year to a year. And I have things I'm looking for. I have a patterns I want to check. Patterns of speech, patterns of writing, and patterns of promises. I don't even know whether it's about fake or not. I just want to see where they have similarities, where they differ. There are key things that you can learn, and it can be used even to campaign against them or for them in another election. All right. Research design and methods. So what does it mean? I've told you this earlier, and it is the heart of your work, and it's important for you to pay attention to it. It defines the research method and logic steps. What method are we going to use? What are different types of methods we have, guys? The method. What method do you know? Different types. So the one you know about qualitative, the one you know about quantitative, right? You know all those ones that you've been sharing. So what do you want to use? How are you going to use them? What steps are you going to take? So in research paper, even if it is a small paper, or like those small papers that you guys did and submitted for the conferences, you will realize that they just accept it from you guys as a student. So at least let's have them. They are our students, you understand? But if they are to look at it thoroughly, they won't even accept it at all. So you have to take a steps. Okay, we gathered the numbers of these people, and this is how many days we use to gather, to put their data together, to share it, to take it again, to analyze it, and this is the instrument we use to, you have to explain it. Now in the case of this, you're going to say, I will. Remember, you have not done. In your research paper, you are proposing what you're going to use. And if your supervisor thinks it is good enough, they will look at it. When they are ready to supervise you, they will say, oh, this may be too big for you. It's not really necessary. Let's use this one. But it's good that you know what is much more better. Do more research. Ask before you even send your proposal. By the time you are defending your proposal in front of this person, they will know that he or she has done, even if they are going to put through something else. But to an extent, they will be confident in you that you know what you're doing. All right. Now, which research method? E.g., are you using survey, modeling, a case study? So we have, so beyond that, you look at this as an abstractor. You said qualitative, quantitative. We have what we call survey. We have what we call modeling. We have what we call case study. That's you're studying a particular case, right? To follow. Attached. So now you need to, you can attach a table. You can design in a table if possible. So it's not necessary that you write it in, in prose, but mostly it's usually in prose, and some people put it in tables so they can see it clearly. Now, what research type? What is the type of your research? Are you using qualitative? Are you using quantitative? Are you gathering original data collection or primary or secondary sources? Some of these can be subjected under any of these two that we talk about. So what kind of sampling? There are many research methods. You guys, I think you should still do the research method. Research method itself is a course. Yes, because it is the heart of research. It is the research itself. Your literature review, those your writings, because this is what will give you originality. Your method design is what will give you the originality of your work, because it is what will drive you to your work, and it is the heart of your research proposal. When you fail with your method, it can be hard for your supervisor, your prospective supervisor, to accept you. Now, next, research method itself. What data collection tools or procedure will you use? E.g. survey, we've talked about that. Practicalities. How much time would you need? You need to specify. I know that you can say it. I know that my program is going to be 4 years or 3 years, and I know that we're going to have series of classes in first year, but I still look at starting my project as soon as possible within this time and time. You'll see it in the budget and schedule. Why schedule is important. Now, how will you gain access to your population? There are some population that you may not be able to enter. You will just think it is good to research, but you may not be able to have access to them. You have to think of it, because they could end up not allowing you to defend your PhD on time. It is, yes, the prospect is good, and you could see that it is a very nice area, and we want to do. Sometimes, if you do not consider this, you get to the middle of your PhD, and you'll be rounding, and you have to start and pause PhD. Some people did their PhD for 10 years, 15 years. Okay, reference list, guys. A factual material. I've already told you why reference list is important, right? And why you cannot even avoid it. You will do literature review of the work that is not your work. You will definitely cite. You have references and you have sources. Many of you are still having problem with sources. Look, with your sources, you still have a problem with your sources. Guys, you're having problem. You submitted your work. If I should look at it, the work still have a lot of killings. When it comes to reference, I told you to check. How do you cite online works? Things you found on websites. If you go on Google and say, how do I cite a website? It will give you. You have to, when you're citing a website, you have to say retrieved from this social page and put the date and the author that wrote it in that particular. If it has no author, it has a way to cite it. Guys, you don't just go to your references and put the link. You just put the link in the references. It's a mamno. Unacceptable. Okay, budget. Schedule. There's nothing much about it than you need to schedule. From what date to what date, right? So you need to know, when are you starting what? Asking you forecast and how the stages are going to be. How long would it take? And what it will require. And you need to check requirements of your project, right? So there's nothing like this is not going to take money. So you have to. When you do it for yourself, the benefit is that whether your supervisor is asking for it or not, is that it helps you to track the growth of your work. That yes, this is where I am. This is what I need to do. This is how to adjust to do your work. And in RUDN, if you're doing it, especially our faculty, I think generally we have what we call, even your masters. Don't be surprised. By the time you're finishing your master's program and writing your research, they're going to ask you. If you have a supervisor that's not checking your work, they will still ask you when it's like a week to your defense. Then you'll be running up and down. Research plan. You have a plan. You will write reports. Many of them doesn't know. Start your work. Your research starts in February, but many of them did not check with their supervisors. They'll just turn up in April when they are defending in May. So be careful of that. Just warning to some of you guys. And for me, this is my rule now. If anyone will even choose me as supervisor, I will have seen many of the work that this person has done, and because I don't want anyone to waste my time and disturb me. I have many things I'm doing. That's number one. And number two is that from the moment I'm working with a student, I may wake you up at a night or somewhere, because I'm thinking also as well. Because from the moment I have my name on your work, it's part of my legacy, my thing too. So many students don't think like that. They think it's just because it's their name, it's their work. Okay, sorry about that. So now your budget, it's going to be hard. So you have travel cost, How much would it cost? It doesn't matter, it depends. But it's not necessary to have it in all, optionally. But you can keep it. You may not show it in the main one you send to them. When they are talking to you in the interview, you can have it and tell them. And in another case, you can show it to them. So that is it. And I know I've taken a lot of your time today.